Have you ever run so far, you forgot what home felt like? There are moments in life when the noise around us is loud, yet the silence inside us is deafening. When we chase freedom, but find ourselves more bound than ever. When we think the world can fill the ache, but it only digs the hole deeper. This isn't just the story of a reckless son who left his father's house, it's the story of every soul that's ever wandered. It's the cry of a heart that longs to be seen, to be known, to be welcomed back. But what if you've gone too far? What if grace doesn't reach that deep? Keep watching, because the story you're about to hear may just rewrite the ending you thought was sealed. It began with a single sentence. "Father, give me my share of the inheritance." It doesn't sound outrageous at first, until you realize what it really meant. In their culture, to ask for the inheritance early was to say, "I wish you were dead." It was more than rebellion, it was rejection. Not just of the house, but of the heart behind it. And the father? He doesn't argue. He doesn't plead, he simply lets him go. Sometimes, love doesn't lock the door. Sometimes, love allows the prodigal path, not to destroy you, but to show you what freedom without the father really feels like. So the son left, wealth in his hands, restlessness in his soul, but what he thought would liberate him would soon leave him lost. He left the only place that had ever truly loved him. He wandered into a distant country, far from the boundaries of wisdom, far from the voice that once called him son. And there, he lived. Lived loud, lived fast, lived empty. The inheritance that once felt endless, evaporated like mist in the morning. Friends vanished, pleasure faded. And the famine came, not just to the land, but to his soul. He found himself doing the unthinkable, feeding pigs, envying their food. A Jewish boy, feeding unclean animals, and wishing he could eat like them. How far must one fall before they remember where they came from? Rock bottom isn't always a place, it's a revelation. And in that mud, with hunger gnawing and shame screaming, a spark flickered. Could there still be a way back? He looked at his hands, filthy, his clothes, tattered, his heart, broken. And then, he remembered. How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? He didn't plan a grand return, no speech of entitlement, just a simple resolve. I will go back. I will say, Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you, I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. This wasn't pride, it was desperation. A gamble not on himself, but on the goodness of the father he once abandoned. Sometimes, repentance doesn't look like a halo, sometimes, it's just feet on the road, turning homeward. And so, with nothing but regret in his heart and dust on his feet, he rose. But what he didn't know was that someone had been watching the road every day since he left. He was still a long way off, but the father saw him. Not because the son had shouted, not because he had sent word ahead, but because the father had never stopped watching the road. And when he saw that familiar silhouette in the distance, head bowed, steps slow, he didn't wait, he ran. Not with hesitation, not with judgment. With tears in his eyes, and love in every stride. No nobleman ran in those days, it was undignified, shameful even. But this father bore that shame willingly, just to reach his son faster. Before the son could finish his confession, before he could offer to become a servant, the father interrupted. Not with rebuke, but with restoration. Quick, bring the best robe. Put a ring on his finger, sandals on his feet. Because grace doesn't just forgive, it reinstates. He wasn't returning as a servant, he was coming home as a son. Bring the best robe, not just any garment, but the Father's own. The robe of honor, the robe of belonging. Put a ring on his finger, not decoration, authority. A seal that marked him as family, not failure. Sandals for his feet, because servants walked barefoot, sons did not. Then came the feast. The fattened calf, saved for the most sacred of celebrations, was slaughtered. Music rose, laughter echoed. And the house that once knew sorrow, danced again. Not because of what the son had done, but because of where he now was, home. This is what grace looks like when it throws a party, the kind of grace that doesn't wait for apologies to be perfect, the kind of grace that rejoices louder than shame whispers. But while the music filled the house, not everyone was dancing. He heard the music before he saw the reason. Joy, laughter, celebration. But none of it made sense, until a servant said the words that froze his heart. Your brother has come home, and your father has killed the fattened calf. Not the rebel, not the disgrace. Your brother, but he wouldn't step inside. He stayed outside, arms crossed, heart closed. The father came out, just like he had for the younger son, and again, he pleaded. But this time, it wasn't rebellion he was confronting, it was resentment. All these years I've served you, I never disobeyed, yet you never gave me even a young goat, do you hear it? Not love, labor. Not relationship, reward. The older brother had stayed, but he had never truly been home. Because proximity to the Father is not the same as intimacy with him, and now, grace felt like an insult. Mercy, like injustice. But the Father said the most important fact. My son, the voice was gentle, but firm. You are always with me, and everything I have is yours. It wasn't about livestock, or fairness. It was about hearts, about home. But we had to celebrate and be glad, the father continued, because this brother of yours was dead, and is alive again. He was lost, and is found. Grace doesn't operate on balance sheets, it doesn't ask, who deserves what? It asks, who needs to come in? The father wasn't choosing one son over another, he was inviting both to the table. One returned from rebellion, the other needed to return from pride. And in the end, the question hangs in the air, not just for the older brother, but for us, will we come in? This isn't just a parable, it's a mirror. Because at some point, we've all been the younger son, running, wasting, falling. Or the older brother, resentful, rigid, lost in our own righteousness. But the story is not about the sons, it's about the Father. A Father who watches the road, who runs to meet the broken, who pleads with the bitter, who welcomes both the wild and the wounded. This is the heart of God. Not cold justice, but warm mercy. Not conditional love, but extravagant grace. So if you're wondering whether he's waiting for you to clean yourself up, stop. He's just waiting for you to come home, and when you do, there won't be shame, there won't be silence, there will be singing. Because the Father still rejoices, every time a lost child is found.